Imagine the choking dust and golden sun of the ancient Athenian marketplace. Amidst the shouting merchants and ambitious politicians, there walked a barefoot man named Socrates. He wasn't hunting for wealth or power. He was searching for something far more elusive, the fundamental nature of the human soul. Socrates introduced a revolutionary framework that linked our intellect directly to our character and our well-being. He proposed a powerful triad that would define Western ethics for 2 millennia. Knowledge is virtue, and virtue is happiness. This wasn't a dry academic theory, it was a radical manual for living. Socrates argued that our moral failures are not actually flaws of the heart or a lack of willpower, but simple errors of the mind. This leads to his most provocative claim: no one does wrong willingly. To Socrates, whenever we choose a path that is harmful or unjust, we are merely suffering from a lack of true knowledge. We've made a calculation error in our pursuit of happiness. If we truly, deeply understood what was good for the soul, we would be incapable of choosing vice. Today, we're exploring how fixing the mind can finally fix the life. Socrates introduces us to a radical idea known as Socratic intellectualism. At its core, this is the belief that virtue is a form of knowledge, specifically a deep, unshakable understanding of what is truly good versus what is truly harmful. To him, the idea of weakness of will, what the Greeks called akrasia, was essentially a myth. He found it inconceivable that a person could see the right path with total clarity and then intentionally choose to walk the wrong way. Think about a mathematician working on a complex equation. If they truly understand the underlying principles and laws of logic, they don't choose to get the answer wrong. They simply reach the correct conclusion because their knowledge dictates the result. For Socrates, morality works exactly the same way. If you possess genuine wisdom about the nature of justice, that knowledge becomes a compelling, irresistible force. It doesn't just sit there like a suggestion in a textbook, it dictates your actions. In this framework, wrongdoing isn't a sign of a corrupt heart, but a sign of ignorance. We don't fail because we are inherently malicious. We fail because we don't yet truly know what is best for our own souls. To really grasp why Socrates links knowledge and virtue so tightly, we have to look at the Greek word arete. We usually translate this as virtue, but it actually means excellence of function. Think about it this way. Every object has a specific purpose. A knife's excellence is its ability to cut cleanly and precisely. A horse's excellence is found in its speed and stamina. Socrates argued that human beings aren't any different. We have a unique function too. And what is the highest, most essential part of our nature? It's our reason. Therefore, human arete is the excellence of our reasoning. It is the mastery of the art of living. This means becoming a good person isn't about following arbitrary rules or social conventions. It's about having a deep, functional knowledge of reality. Think of a master carpenter who knows exactly how the wood will react to his chisel. When we truly understand the nature of the good, we operate at our highest capacity, fulfilling our human function with the same precision a craftsman brings to his trade. In this light, virtue isn't a moral burden. It's the technical mastery of existence itself. This brings us to the most challenging of Socrates' claims, the idea that no one does wrong willingly. On the surface, this seems to fly in the face of our everyday experience. We see people lie, cheat, and hurt others constantly. But Socrates asks us to look deeper into the psychology of the wrongdoer. He argues that every person, in every action, is seeking what they perceive to be a benefit or a good. The person who steals doesn't steal because they want to be a bad person. They steal because they believe the stolen goods will bring them comfort, status, or security. They are seeking a good, but they are profoundly mistaken about what a good actually is. In this Socratic framework, vice is essentially a failure of calculation. It is a cognitive error where the individual mistakes a short-term pleasure for a long-term benefit. If you truly understood that an unjust act harms your own soul, and that a damaged soul is the ultimate source of misery, you would never choose it. Therefore, wrongdoing isn't a choice of evil over good, it's a choice of ignorance over knowledge.
When we see someone act with cruelty or greed, our instinct is to label them as wicked or evil. But Socrates challenges this perspective. He argues that vice isn't a sign of a wicked heart, it's a symptom of a deep-seated moral blindness. This isn't just about missing simple facts, it's a fundamental failure to understand the spiritual math of our existence. You see, Socrates believed that when we harm others, the person most damaged isn't the victim, it's the perpetrator. By acting unjustly, we inflict a permanent scar on our own souls, which is the most precious thing we possess. If a rational person truly understood this, that every act of malice is actually an act of self-sabotage, they would never choose it. No one willingly signs up for their own ruin. From this perspective, every act of greed or violence is a tragic mistake. It's a profound miscalculation of what a better life looks like. The wrongdoer is like someone drinking poison because they believe it's life-saving medicine. They aren't necessarily evil so much as they are desperately, tragically mistaken about what leads to genuine happiness.
This leads us directly to the third part of our equation, the belief that virtue equals happiness, or eudaimonia. For Socrates, happiness isn't a fleeting emotion, a sensory pleasure, or the accumulation of stuff. It is a state of flourishing that comes from a healthy, well-ordered soul. Think of virtue as the physical health of your inner self. Just as you can't truly enjoy a feast if you're physically ill, Socrates argues you cannot be happy if your soul is riddled with the disease of vice and ignorance. A soul in discord is a soul in pain. This perspective is revolutionary because it makes happiness an internal achievement rather than an external accident. Your eudaimonia isn't dependent on luck, winning the lottery, or the fickle opinions of the crowd. It is entirely dependent on your own dedicated pursuit of knowledge and the resulting moral integrity of your character. When you understand what is truly good through knowledge, and you act on that virtue, happiness isn't just a goal you're chasing, it's the natural, inevitable byproduct of a healthy soul. You alone hold the simple keys to your own flourishing. Many philosophers have struggled with the Socratic denial of akrasia, or the weakness of will. We've all felt that internal tug-of-war, where we know we should do one thing, but we end up doing another, like choosing a short-term pleasure over a long-term goal. Aristotle argued that we can have knowledge in a general sense, but fail to apply it in a specific emotional moment. He believed our desires could effectively hijack our reason. But Socrates would remain firm. If you gave in to a destructive impulse, it means your knowledge was merely an intellectual veneer. It wasn't real knowledge that had been fully integrated into your being. In that moment of failure, you were momentarily convinced that the wrong action was the right one. Your wisdom was temporarily eclipsed by a powerful illusion of benefit. To Socrates, true knowledge is more than just a set of facts. It is a fundamental shift in perception. If you truly understood the equation of happiness, that virtue equals well-being, you wouldn't choose the subtraction of your own joy. In his eyes, you didn't know better and do worse. You are simply mistaken about what would truly benefit you.
The legacy of Socratic ethics resonates far beyond the marble pillars of ancient Athens. His equation, knowledge equals virtue equals happiness, isn't just a philosophical curiosity. It is a foundational blueprint for modern cognitive therapy. When we engage in the Socratic method, we aren't just arguing, we are performing a surgical strike on double ignorance, that dangerous state of not knowing that we don't know. Socrates believed that vice is essentially a cognitive error. If we act poorly, it is because we have mistaken a harm for a benefit. This perspective offers a path of radical empathy. Instead of meeting wrongdoing with simple moral condemnation, we are invited to look at the flawed reasoning behind the act. This shift is profound. It suggests that the journey toward a better world begins with the difficult inward work of examining our own minds.
By questioning our assumptions and refining our understanding of what is truly good, we align ourselves with virtue. In a world of increasing conflict, the Socratic promise remains a lighthouse that through the pursuit of knowledge, we find virtue, and through virtue, we secure the only lasting happiness.